What is going on, everybody? And in this video, we are giving you guys a state of the market in my stock picks for January 26, 2022. So I hope everybody's doing great today. The market itself, pure chop, something we're looking for. We are coming into the day we've been waiting for a while. The reason for some massive selling that's been happening lately, and that is a Mr. Powell. Now, Mr. Powell will be essentially coming out. The report will come out, the FOMC report will come out at 2 o'clock. So you will see volatility creep in. You'll see an initial move. But ultimately at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Powell will actually come on. He'll readdress a lot of the stuff that was iterated in the report, and then he'll take questions. From that point, the market will know where we're going. And we've already hit the 10% correction on the index. Something I've been talking about in the weekly and daily updates is that from this point, we can reverse. I think we were trying to get a official correction in case we did actually have a rate raise for the years. That way we can actually start running as opposed to waiting to hear something. Because I think the market's even taking it as the fact that whatever Powell's going to say is going to be dovish. And we're just going to go ahead and price that in. So if the possibility of an emergency rate raise was to ever come up, that we wouldn't be blindsided. We kind of priced it in already. That is my thesis on what is going on currently, but we'll know for sure tomorrow. My thing is that I believe what's going to happen is he'll be the Powell of old. He'll be dovish, and that is going to flip the market. And I think we're going to have a parabolic move to the upside. And a good reason to believe this too as well is essentially everybody is talking about a bear market, and that is a good reason to start flipping and start running the other way. Because when everybody is mentioning that it's a bear market, then it's when the market likes to flip it up on you and go the opposite way. So like I said, technical wise, we've already corrected 10%. That's already been hit. We actually played this perfectly today. We had that boost. I think this was more of a relief bounce than anything. And then I knew this would happen today. I knew we'd wind up going into tomorrow. I expect this to play a range tomorrow. We'll have to see how that goes. But Microsoft did had earnings, and this is what's funny, is that Microsoft had earnings. They beat on a lot of different things, but yet they sold off, which is normally an indicator that the market, it doesn't matter what the numbers are, there's going to be some troubles. And that was a pure move on essentially the Powell, what was going on with Powell. But I think the CEO came on and gave forward guidance that he expects some really big returns coming up in the next quarter. So that really allowed Microsoft to bounce back. Being said, I think now people are looking, because I said this was a big piece of what's going to go moving forward, is that Microsoft had to come up good, and they did. As the selling off was a pure indicator that the market didn't care, that they are waiting on Powell. And then the CEO came out and gave that little bit of information, which was fantastic, because that gives Tesla and Tesla, Apple, Facebook, Amazon, some of those others an opportunity to step up to the plate and say it is really not that bad. The industry leaders are doing very well. The market is good. The market is healthy. And then if Powell comes out and is dovish tomorrow, we will see a parabolic move, possibly tomorrow night, or more so Thursday. I'm more so looking at the end of the week, Thursday into Friday, and then getting set up for more big tech earnings next week. Again, I think this is the move that is going to switch gears and send us back up. Again, it all depends when he comes. If he comes out as very hawkish, starts giving time frames of March and specific numbers, which I don't believe he's going to do, but there's always that possibility. If he does do that, we can correct for even further from this point down. But you're seeing the strength in the market. The market held very well today. When I saw this hold here, I knew the market was ready to go. It was just waiting on the word from Powell. And that's all we're waiting for. So I think tomorrow we're going to we might actually start up here tomorrow, because Microsoft popped back, and I think we'll actually play back down to the 33 22 mark. We'll continue to play this range, I think, till 230, and then we'll possibly break up. If this does break that last power hour, what I'm really looking at is a power hour tomorrow. If that breaks back above the 43.98 mark, well, essentially, even if you get these top candles right here, has been the 44.13 mark. If it breaks that tomorrow before close, I think we will gap up going into Thursday. Again, you got to let the essentially everybody digest the report and Powell, which will take into power hour. Then when you start seeing if that power, because you're going to get initial moves starting at 2 o'clock, you'll get an initial sell-off possibly. I mean, the market can open up and start running just because of Microsoft forward guidance, or if there's word, someone gets word about what Powell's going to do, you start seeing movement, you start seeing a lot of volatility. If we start actually running in the morning, that's a good telltale sign that the market's ready and the market kind of knows what Powell's going to come in as. And then we could begin that parabolic move a lot sooner than we think. But be prepared. I think tomorrow's going to be that day where you're going to see a big move going into Thursday and Friday. So really watch these levels. Again, we're looking at the 44.18 mark tomorrow. And it could even come to the bottom of this range here, which is the 42.46. I think if for some reason we got bad news, we could even revisit this before we headed back up. This 42.46 mark, I think is a possibility. I really don't see that though. I really think we just play this again, this tight range here, then pop up and start running out from that point. Let me actually scoot this over. So I think it's a strong possibility. That again, it kind of lead indicates right there that we're going to pop over around power hour. The last two candles on the hourly, I think will really indicate if that's going to be a break and gap tomorrow. That's what I am looking for. So I'm kind of just waiting all day to kind of see what happens. I may not even play in the morning, just watch until closer to that time. So we'll have to see. Bitcoin, a great bounce, is continuing to push up. I talked about this around that 32 mark. We're still very solid. A lot of different, your coin and your MSTR started moving just as well today. Again, I think we're still very bullish in my opinion, on crypto. I think a lot of people are kind of just getting carried away and still not used to the volatility. Again, we had this massive parabolic move and hardly didn't even dip on the way up. We've had massive selling down to here. Again, I think we're fine. We're still holding above this, making a higher low here. So that's what we want to see. Again, but we want to break out this wedge. This wedge, I think, again, is something that can be broke going forward. I think if we get a dovish Powell, everything is going to go. Everything has been selling, first of all. When everything sells, that's a really bad sign. But on the flip of that, what's going to happen is you're going to see a massive parabolic move if essentially everything is dovish. If Powell says he doesn't know when it's going to happen, doesn't know time frame, just talking about it, again, I think going into the end of the week, we're going to see a parabolic move, and we're going to continue that into next week. And again, we will be revisiting this scenario on and off until we actually get a rate raise. So action is actually taken. So just be aware of that. But we do have a correction, so I don't expect anything major at that point. Once we actually know when it's going to happen, we might do some sort of pullback, a pretty decent pullback at that point. But ultimately understand if it is continue to push off to later this year, that's not going to be, we're not going to have some big correction. We have already had that correction in the beginning of the year. I think that's what the market wanted to do. So because they don't know when it's going to happen. So correct now, let the market run until it's actually announced. I think the market's actually expecting Powell to not announce anything to later down the road. And then I think that's what they're anticipating. So that's why they're doing what they are. So again, what I'm looking at, you got Tesla as the next big earnings in LRCX tomorrow. We want to see how this does. It started to rocket today, trying to break out. Again, it hit that 200. It's really floating around this that 900 mark. Make sure it holds that tomorrow. I think between these two essential zones, supply and demand zones, essentially the top could even be here at the 946 mark. So we'll probably be playing this range tomorrow. I really don't expect it to blow past this tomorrow. I mean, I could be wrong. But ultimately, I think what Tesla will do is it will play the range because it's waiting for Powell until that power hour. By that point, it might start going parabolic if it gets good news on Powell, and then you'll have earnings, and I think we'll continue up from that point. But again, it's under a K, so Tesla's definitely want to watch. Premiums are sky high right now, so I think you might want that digestion for everything to kind of cool off, the premiums to cool off, and then look more on like Thursday to be trading a lot of these stocks because the premiums have just been jacked up on the contracts. Apple, another big one. Apple's is Thursday. Look for this break above the 163 mark for potential upside. Again, you have a lot of resistance now since you've been hanging out at the bottom side. Apple really hasn't fallen too much. It's really been holding this 156 mark. So as long as it's holding that 156 mark, it should be solid. I won't actually, again, be surprised if it revisited that tomorrow, just before Powell, and then take off from that point. Google is another huge one I want to watch. It's actually been kind of lagging compared to everything, and if everything goes well, I'm really seeing this do well. There is resistance, to weekly resistance here at 25.59 here. So you do want to watch out for that. But if we do break that, again, you got the 200 resistance here at 26.31. Definitely want to watch out on a break of that. But I think once we get word this is really going to take off. So if we do revisit 25.29, I'll actually be looking to possibly get a position in Google to cover earnings. Again, I think earnings is next week for Google. So being said, I think this can really start making a parabolic move. And I think that is the way it's going to play out. It doesn't mean it always will, but I'm pretty definite that's the way everything is looking. ASML has been holding this 648 mark. Fantastic, actually. Watching this tomorrow, if it opens up flat and sitting in here tomorrow, I will probably actually take a position in ASML. It's going to be one of the bigger ones that are going to move with all the chips. I think all the chips are really going to start moving here come tomorrow. So look for a break for that. Look at to try to revisit 700. It did have earnings and killed it. So I think ultimately, if everything is good, again, this is just a selling because of Powell. Again, I think we can start really making parabolic moves, and I think we can make from this point, I think it's easy to make a 100-point move on ASML. That's what I'm looking for. And the same with LRCX. It's been really holding this 582 mark. I've been playing the zone the past 2 days because it's been playing in range really well. So watching this zone tomorrow, it does dip back into this. It does have earnings tomorrow after the bell, so be mindful of that. Maybe better just to not play it tomorrow and wait for Thursday and then play the continuation of that. And we're starting to get continuations, and considering the way everything is, it's probably better to play continuations for the most part. Again, NVIDIA, same thing. Looking for that 231 break. It would also break us out of the trend, break us over the 200, and I think we can really go parabolic from that point. Again, it's been holding this 217 mark really well. But we want, at this point, we kind of want stuff to start breaking out and to really start taking position, only because things have been popping and wicking right back to high days and end of days. So we got to be careful of that. Roblox has really been IPO low here at 61, essentially around that $60 mark. It did hit yesterday. Kind of really watching this. I do really like Roblox going forward. So that's one to watch too. Kind of giving you some other ones of possibility to watch. Airbnb has been holding essentially this 140 mark really well. Again, if you're investing, I think you should be buying these dips on some of these really, really good ones that are really like industry leaders. I wouldn't buy anything that has great potential, is possibly skeptical. You don't really know. There's a lot of word. I mean, you really have to buy, I think, names that are going to be around. You have to have high conviction in some names and make sure that that's what it is. Again, Microsoft, this is one I really want to watch tomorrow. It held that 216 mark. It's battling that 295 mark. So it's been playing range. It didn't break out of the range yet. So if it breaks this 295 tomorrow, that's what you want to watch. I think it will go parabolic. I think what we're going to do, again, we might revisit this 280 mark possibly tomorrow just because we're waiting on Powell. And then if everything goes well with him, I think this will start skyrocketing too. Moderna has been another one that's been playing this 150 mark really well. one to keep an eye on. It's been playing really solid range. So the 150 to 165, so you got a 15-point move, which has been really nice. And Moderna, you do have to be careful. It did have almost a mini flash crash here, so you got to watch out for Moderna because it does do that. It gets some nice pops and then drops pretty hard. And we do have BA. I don't trade BA, but BA is in the morning as well. So it can move the market for the value side. So if it normally does bad, so normally we'll get selling, but then it turns around and flips and starts pushing up. So one thing to watch and one thing that could help the market as well, if BA does well tomorrow and Tesla does well, Apple does well, LRCX does well, I think by the end of the week, we're going to have one parabolic move to the upside. Again, it's all waiting on one man and one man only, and that is Powell. So if you've made it this far, remember to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Till next time, I'll see you guys later.